Hey guys, this is my video on why most players, the overwhelming majority of players playing Classic / Vanilla WoW should not raid on more than one character. I'm not talking about bank ults. I'm not talking about ults you mess around in while leveling in your spare time. I'm not even talking about main swaps. If you want to swap main because you think it's in the best interest of the raid composition, or you just really dislike playing your main, I think that's perfectly fine as long as you give appropriate notice. I'm talking about raiding on multiple characters on a consistent basis, alright? Or even on a not so consistent basis, I think sometimes causes these various problems. I think that, you know, I would enjoy other parts of the games on ults, but I think with raiding, there's too much that gets, the social fabric of the game all gets fucked up, and a lot of things get fucked up and awkward, and I don't recommend it. And I'll get into why. The first issue, I'm just going to break it to you. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. You suck. You suck at your ult. You might even suck at your main because you're spending too much time on your ult. Okay? The first issue is a skill issue. Alright? People have skill issues. Alright? And I know immediately what people are going to say.
Vigrid, this is Classic WoW. The DPS rotation has 2 buttons in it. Who cares? Like, of course I can play multiple characters well. Of course I don't have a skill issue.
Right? But like, thing is, guys, you'd be surprised. Alright? There are people all over the place on the skill curve. Okay? Some people got a lot of time to put in the game. Some people don't. Some people just, for whatever reason, they lack talent. They lack the ability. They just suck. You know? Whatever it is, right? Maybe there's just something about the class they just can't wrap their head around. They just can't figure it out. But they're going to have a better chance of figuring it out if they focus and hone their skills on one character. Alright? They have one consistent frame of reference through which they're dealing with the game. And if you think the skill cap of this game is low because there's like 2 button rotations, okay, sure. It's not as like demanding as like high mythic plus keys in retail or anything. But, you know, there's still like, I still see people underutilize active trinkets, underutilize active items. I still see people fuck up their positioning, take unnecessary damage, etc., etc., right? There are all sorts of skill issues people have, even in the vanilla game, alright? Even in this game for babies with 2 buttons, okay? Any fucking, you know, elitist retail chads out there. So, that's you know, that's just, you gotta meet people where they're at, fundamentally. And, you know, is it true that the best of the best of the best can pilot multiple characters to their potential? Sure. For sure. I've seen people do it on retail WoW, and it's even harder there. But that doesn't mean that the average player should pursue that, or has the time or inclination to pursue that, or won't just get frustrated while trying to pursue that. Okay? You got to focus. Okay? I personally play Resto main spec, and I play Ellie off spec, and I know that I'm not optimizing Ellie when I have to play. I know that there are small little things I could do to get off a little bit more damage, right? Sometimes my positioning for the fire totem cleave isn't as good as it could be. Sometimes I don't leverage enough single target chain lightnings to maximize my single target DPS, right? Because of mana mismanagement, okay? Or sometimes I overdo the chain lightning and then I run and then I fuck over my DPS even more, right? So these are like small things, small little things, but they add up, right? And you know, I'm only really playing Ellie at maybe 90% of the potential I could if I actually mained it and played it all the goddamn time as like a main spec. So the idea that you're going to seamlessly jump between multiple characters and play them at 100% output, laughable. It's laughable. And if you're not playing your best, I mean, then you're not really credit to team, are you? It's a team game, it's a team sport. You want to be bringing your A game. You don't want to let people down. And playing multiple roles, playing multiple classes, it's a barrier to bringing your A game. Even people who just play Druid often fall into this trap. They will try to play like Resto Druid, Feral Tank, and Feral Cat. And they end up doing all three pretty mediocre. It's hard. It's hard to do. It's demanding. It's demanding to switch gears and to learn all that stuff. And you just want to focus. Keep it simple. Any competitive game you can think of, you focus on one strategy, one race, one character in great depth. You learn it, you explore it, you master it, and then you have what it takes to beat the best, right? Or compete with the best. And WoW is no different. WoW's no different. So yeah, that's the first reason. The first reason is skill issue, guys. Skill issues. And another part of the skill issue is just like, a big part of this game is just optimizing your UI. The UI is so customizable, there's so many add-ons, there's so many things, even new stuff coming out all the time. And you got to keep on top of it and develop it. And it's easy to diagnose problems and find potential solutions for problems if you keep encountering the same problems over and over again because you're familiar with them. So really customizing your UI to get the most out of your play is a big part of the skill cap too. And that having an alt really complicates that as well. It's pretty rough. Next reason people hate your alt, or I don't recommend you bring your alt to raids, it's just not in the best interest of the group. You know, you're hurting the composition, basically. If you play like a tank, or you play like a shaman like me, you know, having a shaman group, it's awesome. Having a shaman who's able to do some key tremors, really important on some encounters, you know. Having a key tank in a key position who really knows how to position this boss and do things right. You know, it's just really important to the smooth operating of your raid. And now you're playing like a hunter or something, and it's just like, what the fuck? And, you know, it can be bad enough that you just straight up added an extra hour worth of wipes and bullshit to the raid. You know, people start losing world buffs. People start getting threat capped because the tanks that they have aren't as good as the tanks that left. You know, it's not good, man. No me gusta. No me gusta. I don't like it. That's what that means. Okay? So some people just don't want your damn ult. Okay? It's just as simple as that. Can be harsh, but it's true. So true. Okay? Next reason I don't recommend having ults in raids, consumables. Oh my god. So much power in this game is locked up in consumables. And the use of active items that you have to use on a regular basis. You know, sappers, potions. You know, your big, your hour-long elixirs, your mighty rage potions, your major mana potions, right? All this kind of stuff. It's don't grow on trees. It ain't for free. You know, there's considerable overhead. Even if you just buy gold and just buy it off the auction house like a complete bozo. And I hate gold. Buying gold is terrible for the game. I hate buying gold, right? But even if you just buy gold and buy it off the auction house, it's still like kind of a pain to manage all the inventory and the bank and all the nonsense. I mean, it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of overhead. And it burns people out, man. It burns them out. There's such a wide variety of items to use, and at least you can constrain it to just the one role if you just play the one role, you know? It makes things a lot easier that way. So, yeah, the consumables, I mean, either you're spending an ungodly amount of time farming them, in which case you very well could be contributing to your burnout, which is not good, or you're buying gold, which is also not good, or you're slacking on consumes and you're not bringing your A game, and it's a team sport and people want you to bring your A game and try your best, right? That's all I ask. You know, that's all I ask, right? Even if someone kind of sucks at the game, it doesn't bother me that much. It bothers me when they just aren't trying. They just don't care. That's what really bothers me, right? someone doesn't care to get good or care to try. That gets on my nerves. Okay, and yeah, when people slack on consumes, that's what's communicated to me. It's kind of annoying. I don't like it. So yeah, that's a pretty rough run. And the final reason, and this reason is a real nasty sticky point, guys, it's gear. This isn't a game with personal loot. Loot is zero sum. If I get the item, you don't get the item. If you get the item, I don't get the item. Alright, so you want to be very deliberate and very... you don't want to just like forfeit your right to any loot whatsoever, but you also just want to pick the shit that you need, you know, advocate for the stuff that you need, get the stuff you need, but only get the stuff you need. And once you get it, you don't need it anymore. You know, it's actually very fulfilling to me to basically be done with a lot of the loot in the game and have it drop and see loot go to good people who deserve it. And I don't even need it anymore. You know, it just makes the game, the loot situation, loot is so precious and slow to accumulate in this game. You got 40 people, there's 2 pieces of loot when a boss dies. Okay, and it makes life so much easier when you have a surplus of mains who have the items already, who are just like, yeah, don't need it. This guy can take it. And, you know, you go from having a crazy bottleneck on items where there's just like 5-6 people who all want the same item. All of a sudden, there's only 2 people who want the same item. And then 1 person who wants the same item. You know, it's not a big deal. But, you know, if people are swapping mains and swapping, like, ults all over the place and, like... I know, like, people develop rules like, oh, yeah, ults don't take gear over mains, blah, 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 right? And, stuff like that. And some people are even very cool when they play ults and they, you know, they just, they kind of give up the gear that they could actually use on that ult, right? They're very considerate of other players in that way, and I appreciate that, and that's cool. But there are a lot of players who aren't like that. And there are a lot of players who basically make it the guild leadership's job to stop them, actively stop them from rolling on shit they should be, by all rights, not be rolling on. Or not be rolling against mains on, right? And that's just annoying. It's just a pain in the ass. And I'm sick of it. And you don't have to deal with that nonsense if you just play the one character. It's just like, you play the one character, you get the item. Awesome. Excellent. It's done. Now I get to see other people get items they deserve. And that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. And yeah, it just makes life harder. And if you're not careful, you know, you're going to take some shit. It's easy to make... There's so many people in a raid. It's easy to make an honest mistake with the loot. Even if you're careful. Even if you're considerate of other players. So, I don't know. Keep it simple. Keep it stupid. Play the one character. Take the item. And then don't take it again. Keeps things real easy. Keeps things copacetic. So yeah, that's why I don't recommend you play ults. That's why I suspect some people secretly hate you playing your ult as well. And that may or may not bother you. But yeah, that's my idea. That's my general idea of why I don't recommend playing an ult in this game.